So it feels like Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 has been in development hell for absolutely years. But finally, in just under a month's time, it will be out. But should you be excited? Let's find out.
Or maybe just someone with a real big axe to grind. If I were a betting man, I'd say the heads are just starting to roll. And I am a betting man.
My name is Warwick and welcome to Warwick Views. Hope you're doing well. Today, I'm going to check out a preview of Bloodlines 2, part of Vampire Masquerade series. And this was a preview copy that I got to check out at Gamescom, part of the NVIDIA GeForce event. So that was a really cool event and got to check out really cool games, including this one. And so I want to say a big shout out to the team at NVIDIA and also at Vampire Masquerade Bloodlines 2 for giving me a chance to check out the game. And what I'll do, just go through my thoughts and feelings, what I liked, what I disliked, and anything be of interest. But before we do that, hi, hope you're doing well. Again, my name is Warwick, and I don't just do reviews here, although you will find many types of content here. But I also stream on Twitch, which is twitch.tv/Warwick, and also on various socials where you may be. But let's get stuck in. So Vampire Masquerade is a long, how many years? It's been quite a few years, but it's basically a long-standing franchise in sort of the TTRPGs and various other media and stuff, sort of, if you know sort of your D&Ds or stuff like that. Similar mechanics, but with vampires and a lot more darker and a bit more in real life in a sense that it's more gritty and there's more choices and a lot more sort of narrative based rather than maybe potentially like D&D or stuff like that. And it's got vampires, which is really, really cool. So with Vampire Masquerade Bloodlines, it was a game that came out quite a few years ago. A first one came out in 2004. And ever since then, people have been sort of wanting a sequel to it. It came out, it was fairly flawed, but people really appreciate for what it was trying to do, if it was a bit clunky. And so I think for 20 years now, actually, 20 years, people have been wanting a sequel, but we're finally here. However, people who may have come from the first Bloodlines may notice things seem a bit different. And depending on your perspective, it could be a very good thing or quite a bad thing. So I will preface, I've not played the original Bloodlines. I know Vampire Masquerade actually played a TTRPG, which I really, really enjoy. So I know sort of about the lore and that sort of things, but I've not played any of the games or the video games. So I'm only coming in here brand new into this, but I am understanding of sort of the discourse of the sequel. But again, I will only give thoughts of what I thought. And again, I'm coming from a place that I didn't play the first Bloodlines, but for my short time, I really enjoyed it. It was fun. You start off as this vampire and you don't sort of start like underpowered, like sort of typically sort of these sort of games do, where normally you start up, it's like, oh, I'm got no weapons, no armor, no whatever, and you have to sort of build it up. This feels like you wake up from like 1,000 or 100-year sleep or something, I don't know what you're doing, but you're elder vampire, and you wake up and you got your powers. So you can be jumping around, doing all sorts and using your powers and stuff. And the game, again, I had a short time with it, but the game does do a good introduction to what you're doing, who you are, and what the game is all about. So you learn about the different mechanics, about sneaking, about combat, and your powers and what you can use, and sort of all that stuff goes around that, which is pretty cool. There's a bit of lore in there, which I'm not going to get too much into it, but again, this is just a preview. But there's a bit of lore, and you're sort of speaking to sort of like another vamp or another entity. Not sure who they are, but they seem like they're the detective, and so you've got to help them out. And again, I had a really nice time. It felt really good. The team at Chinese Room, who worked recently on Still Wakes to Deep, so worked on this, and you can tell they really know their lighting in that atmosphere. I think they had it really going. And again, I only had a very small time, so I was basically in one building, so I didn't get to explore more, but I do feel like it's in good hands. Now, I will preface, because I'm sure some of you who definitely know Bloodlines is like screaming at the computer right now. I understand this is a very different sort of side step to what the original Bloodlines is. They're both in Vampire Masquerade, but with the first one, from my understanding, is that was more of a focus on the RPG side of things and sort of the deep role playing, where it does seem like for this, it's definitely focused more on the action. It's more linear story driven. And again, this will, your mileage will depend on how you feel about that. Again, I've heard that even though sort of Bloodlines was quite flawed, it was a cult classic, and it had that really cool role playing where you could basically be whatever you wanted within sort of the role, sort of the lore and stuff. Where with Bloodlines 2, at least at the beginning, you seem like you are one character and you are sort of predetermined in that way. There are other classes which may come about later on, but it does seem like there's definitely more of a linear story-driven experience here, rather than sort of maybe having like a traditional sequel, if that makes sense. Again, I'm taking this from like face value. I had a really good time with it. I thought it was really cool. It looked great. It felt great. I like that you had all these powers and stuff, and I loved the sort of the world of Vampire Masquerade. But I can understand that with it being called Bloodlines 2, you are expecting some sort of like direct sequel, traditional sequel to Bloodlines. It depends how you feel about that. Personally, I only experienced the second one, so maybe I have to try the first one and see, how well they differ. But I do understand sort of the discourse around it. And also, as of recording, there has been a lot of discourse about the DLC, about the clans. Basically, there's different sort of clans in the world, and you can pick them, and they have different abilities and different sort of things, and they're all really, really cool. Originally, the game was announced, DLC clans, there was 2 clans going to be locked behind a paywall, which is just personally disgusting. I think it's absolutely disgusting behavior. As a recording, they have backed down from that. They have sort of addressed it, realized they misstepped. They haven't announced what they're doing, although they have offered, or at least Sony has offered, refunds on this DLC. So there may still be DLC, or they might just scrap it, but it does seem like they are listening. But again, the fact is that they're locking like story elements in behind the DLC, even if that was their intention, doesn't seem great. I want to support video games. I want to support the developers, especially with against being potentially 20 years in the making. And I understand you need to make money. But to have something like bases of Vampire Masquerade with the clans locked behind a paywall is wild. But yeah, so there's a lot of discourse around it. It does seem like it's on quite a lot of rough footing at the moment. But for what I had, very short playthrough, I did enjoy it. I experienced a tiny bit, but I am excited to see more. And hopefully with the sort of backing down the DLC or the lock clans by DLCs, and hopefully more of the game coming out or being experienced, hopefully more of that spiritual successor to Bloodlines 1 will come out. So hopefully it will please both types of fans. That is it. That is my review, or my preview of Bloodlines 2, Vampire Masquerade. Thank you for listening. Again, thank you to NVIDIA and also the team at Vampire Masquerade Bloodlines 2 for the chance to check out the game. Really appreciate it. And thank you for listening. Again, my name is Warwick, and I don't just do videos, I also stream on Twitch, which is twitch.tv/Warwick. And also you find me on various socials where you may be. Thank you so much for watching. Please take care, and we'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.